Get the entertainment you love with a little help from Google. No more jumping from app to app. Google TV is built into smart TVs and streaming devices that brings together movies and shows from all of your subscriptions. Need inspiration? Get curated recommendations, use Google's powerful search to find shows across 10,000 plus apps, or browse hundreds of free channels. And with personalized profiles, everyone's experience is customized for them. Search for Google TV to learn more or find us at a retailer near you.
Welcome to Strictly Business, Variety's weekly podcast featuring conversations with industry leaders about the business of media and entertainment. I'm your host, Cynthia Littleton. I am co-editor-in-chief of Variety. Today's episode hails from Austin, Texas, and the South by Southwest Festival. Kate Aurthur, Variety's managing editor, hosted a Strictly Business live event on March 14th about the burgeoning business of microdramas. Google TV is making a big push into the format, adding apps to its central hub as well as discovery and navigation tools. Aurthur speaks with Juanjo Duran, Global Head of Media and Entertainment Content Partnerships for Google, and Tommy Harper, who is a veteran producer of film and TV. Harper has just launched the AI-powered startup VeYou, which is producing and distributing microdramas. The two discuss the potential of the vertical drama market and how they hope to grow it in the U.S. and other territories.
Juanjo Duran is Google's Global Head of Media and Entertainment Content Partnerships, and Tommy Harper is the founder and CEO of VeYou. And he flew in from Dublin last night. So can you talk about what Google TV is doing with the format and what the viewing experience is like?
To help understand, there's the traditional way you consume this content on where the content originates in the apps. And the traditional way is you go to the App Store, in this case, Google Play, and download the app and consume this content. Again, the reality is that at least in this other side of the world, not everybody is aware of that, and it's a little bit foreign on how to deal with that. So what we are doing is we have the Google TV app on mobile, which is a place where you engage with content. You have your watch list, you have your watch next based on the streaming services that you're subscribing and all of that. And that's the place where you rent and buy movies. And what we are doing now is we are making episodes from most of our most major partners available in the app, and we just launched that last week. We're super excited about it, and it's a tremendous way for us to showcase to the audience, but also an entry point in the industry for partners like Tommy and many other producers that want to get in the space, but perhaps don't want to go with the hassle of managing and creating an app.
Tommy, when did you decide to get into this business?
I would say last May, I read an article. It was in the Financial Times about the vertical microdrama space and the boom of it. And I wasn't aware of it at the time. So I kind of started studying it from that point on. And I was in Spain on a train reading the article. And at the same time, these teen girls got on it and literally popped up on their phone and started watching microdramas on their phone. And so I realized it just hit me right. It was all kind of the stars aligned. And so I did a deep dive in it. I started meeting with all the platforms, executives at the platforms, CEOs and producers that were making the content. And traditionally, my day job is TV and film. So I came into the space of a student, and one of the things what I did right away was reach out to a few actors, and I found one that was producing a independent microdrama called Love Under Fire. And so I invested in it and produced it and just learned at the ground floor. And I found it fascinating because as a producer, I just like making things, and I like this style of making it fast. From the business side, I like the platform building.
How did you two start talking? How did you get into business with Google?
My VCs are very tight with Google. They used to run Google Ventures. And so there was a natural course of let's connect you. And then from the first moment on, we sat down and started talking about it. We knew there was a lot of opportunities at play here. So we're continuing conversations daily. And been great partners.
Yeah, similar. I think we have really tight connections with the industry and the partners that we're managing, and we began sharing our plans and how we were thinking about it, and then that's how some of those deeper conversations came on.
Tommy, as someone who produces like a show like Wednesday, can you talk about the vast differences in how these shows are made and in the productions? I mean, the timeline, the budgets, like how does that work?
From one side of the spectrum is you do Wednesday or Top Gun. You're creating these things for years. You're developing them. It is a massive undertaking to build the world and kind of like the brand. And it takes 2 years to get the script right. It takes a year or two to shoot them, a year to promote them. The opposite with this, I was on the phone this morning talking about a project and saying, okay, can we shoot in 6 weeks? And my producer for Verticals was like, yeah, that's fine, no problem. We'll be ready. It's the complete opposite, which I love. So that part excites me, and I think what we want to do is push the boundaries. I want to do everything in the vertical space that, in a way, I'm doing in my traditional TV and film, with the understanding of what works. Right? I'm not going to try to change that. I understand what works. I understand the efficiencies, but I want to do action. I want to do horror. I want to do romance. I want to hit like Gen Z world, but we're very much a PG-13. We don't go hardcore 17 and all that stuff. But I think that the audience this is a TV in your pocket, and everybody's on it. Everybody's watching. So if you can give the content that people want to keep coming back to, and you kind of learn what's worked in traditional TV and film with good stories and good actors and just making people kind of want to be engaged, I think that can work in this format just as much as it does everywhere else.
Juanjo, because this is such a new format, there aren't a lot of like experts about this yet. Can you compare what you're seeing with microdramas to like the Wild West of the early days of YouTube, another Google product?
I began my career at Google, at YouTube, and some of the trends that I see compared to what's going on right now in microdramas are so similar. I remember the days when we were convincing big media companies to put their content on YouTube and monetize that content. And it was a paradigm shift at the time. They began putting it, and then the process on created content also began for YouTube. But then the problem was to helping them change how they were producing for a platform like that. And I see that happening right now. I see that what's going on is you need to kind of forget what you know and but at the same time utilize it to go and create content for a platform and a vertical that it's different in the pace, as Tommy was saying, different in how you think in the back end operationally on how you're releasing, how you're engaging with the partners. So what we are doing is we're helping the industry. We're helping with workshop. We're going to be having one in LA in late September to make sure that we are fostering the industry. And really what is happening is that transforming that lack of understanding on how things are going to go into more proficiency and getting into that. And for professionals and producers like Tommy, being way easier to get teams to work on this type of content and make it bigger. But yeah, tremendously correlation change. So you need to go and study what's going on there, and we need to bring people that know, and that's what we're doing, bringing people from APAC, from Asia, mainly to help disseminate the knowledge.
What do they know in Asia that we don't know yet here?
I think it's a correlation on how you think about the content and the data. Usually it's you think different. You on traditional media, and Tommy might be or is way better suited to speak about this than me. But the way you think about it, you think about like the whole process in the beginning, and they are thinking one batch at a time. And at the same time, they are making adjustments. And they are completely shifting in different ways, and they are utilizing that data. And I think that's the piece, which is very similar at the end of the day. As a YouTube creator, you need to understand how your audience behaves, and you need to serve that audience specifically and utilize what the platform tells you. So in traditional media, you have several ways of distribution. In this place, you're going to have the app, you're going to have potentially the release on a transactional platform like ours in Google TV. So you need to understand and be able to adapt and make it successful.
Tommy, YouTube started as outside of the mainstream, and now it is the mainstream. It'll have the Oscars in a year or two, which is unthinkable when you remember back to what YouTube started out as. Do you see microdramas as feeders for mainstream entertainment in the way that YouTube has?
I think it's a place to actually find talent and find IP. I'm having these conversations now with studio partners and different people. I think what's interesting is if I go make a movie, I'm paying more for a script than I'm paying to produce a microdrama. So I think it's a chance for every creator to go make something on their own. For personally, like for us, for our platform, we don't have to produce it in-house. We just want to make kind of premium vertical content to put on our platform. We want to, in a sense, be like HBO mashed up with TikTok. And so we want to elevate the content, put it on our platform. And in order to do that, we're open to stars everywhere. And I don't think like a few of my directors, for instance, I found on YouTube. I've seen their shorts on YouTube. I reach out on Instagram or whatever. I DM them. They reach back. We do a Zoom, and then they're writing stories now. And one just directed one for us 2 weeks ago. So I'm looking for creators everywhere. They're going to have a shot. Then studio can hopefully look at them and look at their stories that they're telling us. And I think it's the same with actors. So for us, for our platform, we're looking for actors that are in the space, actors that have acting chops and it can really bring it. But a few of the stories that we're developing right now are with more influencers and either on TikTok or YouTube or comedians that are hilarious, but haven't gone in the narrative form yet. And we're going to give them those opportunities.
Can I chime into that one?
Please.
I just want to go back in time and think about several years ago. Would we think that streaming services content will be up for nominations on the Oscars and where we are right now? And then if you change or add to that the fact that consumption habits are completely changing, new generations are watching in a new way. So I think going back and summarizing, yes, potentially yes. But I think the industry and everybody needs to adapt. And that's what we're trying to do. So super exciting.
Get the entertainment you love with a little help from Google. No more jumping from app to app. Google TV is built into smart TVs and streaming devices that brings together movies and shows from all of your subscriptions. Need inspiration? Get curated recommendations, use Google's powerful search to find shows across 10,000 plus apps, or browse hundreds of free channels. And with personalized profiles, everyone's experience is customized for them. Search for Google TV to learn more or find us at a retailer near you.
Tommy, can you see turning it into a show or a movie for in the more traditional, like would you use it as an incubator?
That's what I want to do. We have projects that we have developed and have scripts for that are like action franchises that if they work in this space, we could spin them off in TV or film. Same with all genres, essentially. I think that I think there's a version of what happened in Asia where you had the web novels that were very successful. They had the data, they knew what worked, flipped them into microdramas, and then now we're watching them. Here, we're not doing so much of that, but what you could do is do the microdrama version. If it works, flip them into TV and film. And you're doing it at a cost point where it's like you're barely getting a treatment out of a writer on the feature side. And here you have something that you can look at and study, and you have data, you have all the information. And so I think yes, we're very excited about that part. I'm talking to studios about that in particular.
I assume that there are academics somewhere who are studying why Quibi, which came out in 2020, I believe, and had a similar idea, but a very different business model. Huge stars, very high budgets, but short consumable content on the phone right when everyone was stuck at home. Can you talk about like what your thoughts are about what Quibi knew and what it did right and what it did wrong?
This is the first thing that comes up when we begin to discuss this type of content with traditional media partners. They all have this fear of going into this space, and that's what's going to happen. First of all, I think they were ahead of their time, and timing was not perfect. But I think the main mistake, if I can summarize, there potentially, as you were saying, there should be major studies on this, but I think it was treating the content the same way, just in a different viewing ratio or aspect. Just thinking the same thing is going to work, and I'm going to consume it on a vertical way, and that is what I think the industry went into. Like, yeah, it makes sense. The idea makes sense, but you need to adapt, and you need to kind of think it in a different way and not just like bring that. What we are seeing is we're talking with traditional media partners since a couple of years on when we began sowing this trend, and they were not sure about it. And you see what's going on. Disney and NBC announced on Disney Plus and Peacock this week that they are going into vertical content. And the announcement came with, and this is public, I'm not sharing anything that it's not being shared already, but the announcement came with the fact of them saying what Tommy was going into. We are going to utilize this to understand more of how this content is being consumed, but then at the same time, we're going to be getting into some things that are going to be from our current IP being produced into some other things. I think you need to spend some time, again, going back to the initial questions on the correlation with YouTube and understanding, and not treat this as just the same media and just the same consumption habits. You need to understand that this is potentially a different animal.
Tommy, were you thinking about Quibi's, what they did right, what they did wrong?
I get asked this question with every investor on the film side, on the studio side versus the tech side. Tech side, you can get through it pretty quickly. On the film and TV side, they want to really know what you think about it. And listen, thank them for doing it first. And but I think the model is drastically different, right? Like, I think what works is you keep the cost point efficient.
Can you talk about the aesthetics of the genre? I watched Love Under Fire, and I enjoyed it, but it's so different from, there's like telenovela campy aspects to it.
Love Under Fire is going to come out soon, and this is the one, the independent that I produced and invested in, and we shot it over the summer, and we used a virtual wall to try to make the production value more. And from that point to where we are now is shocking with what's happening with AI in the visual effects mode, AI, as I say. But we're basically trying to just elevate things to look better and to feel better and to travel globally. And I think you can. And this one in particular is very much like a action romance genre, and Hanson in the Stone or something like that from back in the day. So, the telenovelas, they work for a reason. So for our company, we're working with like traditional TV and film writers in the space. But what ends up happening is when those scripts come in, they're long, right? So then I have a writer in Asia that consults for us, and she'll give very detailed notes. And then literally, I would say second or third pass, the writers hit it. And so that's really good to see. And the actors in the space that are working in the microdrama space are reading the scripts going, this is actually really exciting for us because they're different stories. Like, I think what needs to change really fast is, like, especially on our platform, we're not abusing women, we're not slapping, we're not drugging, we're not doing anything, we're not interested in that, we're not doing any of that. And that genre needs to change immediately. But I think, like, aesthetically, back to your question, I think it's all about helping the filmmakers have the tools, to give them the tools and talk to them about it, about framing, style, light, costumes, all that stuff will elevate it immediately.
Juanjo, I just wanted to ask, do you see, we have a Google TV at home, and, we have the tiles like the Netflix and on the HBO Max. And do you see there being like a vertical drama? How much do you see this migrating to an actual television?
The reality is that it has been happening for years. YouTube in the living room has been, that form factor has been the fastest and largest for several years, even from the time that I was working there. We just recently launched about a month ago Instagram on Google TV. And that just speaks about the fact on how different generations are consuming the same type of content in different form factors. And that's something that we're very excited about in the platform. It's not only about the TV side. You can watch and make it available in the car, in your tablet, in your phone, smart speakers, and different things nowadays. But what's going on is that social element of watching content. We believe that it's going to be growing. So what we are doing is we're catering to that type of content, because at the end of the day, you cannot treat it the same way as you treat like huge tent poles from traditional media partners. And there are some elements in the backend that are doesn't work the same. So when you work on things that are very useful for users, like the continue watching role, that requires a lot of technical and edge work in the backend. And we didn't have the elements in the past to work on that. Now we're working towards that, and we're going to be able to provide that same experience, but for vertical content. So I think what you're going to see this year and in the coming months is that evolution on our platform and Google TV on how you integrate not only scripted form, but also social content. We'll begin, obviously, with our first-party service, which is the in-house YouTube, but you'll see that roll out to all of our other partners, and then hopefully that's going to be a seamless way for you to connect and consume content. And at the end of the day, why I'm excited about this is going to be a way to showcase what's going on for a lot of people that perhaps are not yet consuming that content. And the beauty, again, of Google TV, what I love the most is you get content that means something to you. With all the signals that we know about you as a user, you're going to be able to get something at the right time, at the right moment. And hopefully this is going to be part of that experience for the audience.
Thank you both so much for this. This was a great conversation.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to leave us a review at the podcast platform of your choice. We love to hear from listeners. Please go to Variety.com and sign up for the free weekly Strictly Business newsletter. And don't forget to tune in next week for another episode of Strictly Business.
Get the entertainment you love with a little help from Google. No more jumping from app to app. Google TV is built into smart TVs and streaming devices that brings together movies and shows from all of your subscriptions. Need inspiration? Get curated recommendations, use Google's powerful search to find shows across 10,000 plus apps, or browse hundreds of free channels. And with personalized profiles, everyone's experience is customized for them. Search for Google TV to learn more or find us at a retailer near you.